You're trying to get work done, and suddenly you hit a wall. Your IP address is blocked or a network firewall refuses access, so you look for a way around it. When you search for online proxy browsers, you're immediately flooded with options. The problem is, this name markets 3 completely different technologies. Choosing the wrong one for your task leads to a dangerous mismatch. You might think you're using a privacy tool, but you're actually using a setup that could expose your login credentials or eat through a professional budget without solving the core issue. To make a safe choice, we must look past the marketing and categorize these tools by how they handle your data and interact with websites. This chart maps security and compatibility against cost and complexity. Bottom left are free web proxies, fast but minimal security. In the middle, standard VPNs provide a solid baseline. Top right are cloud virtual browsers like Sendwin, designed for total isolation. Today, we're breaking down these 3 tiers so you can match the technology to your specific task. Most users run into trouble by treating a basic URL relay like an enterprise-grade cloud browser. Understanding the technical gap between those two is the first step to staying secure. Tier 1 consists of free web proxies. Technically, these aren't full browsers. They are server-side CGI scripts. They take the website you want to see, try to rewrite its code on their server, and then pass that modified code to your screen. This table helps track the trade-offs. For free web proxies, the technical reality dictates their use case. Because there's no software to install, they are excellent for one-off tasks, like checking a blocked news article or masking your IP for a quick search. However, because the server is trying to rewrite complex code on the fly, modern websites frequently break. If a site relies heavily on JavaScript, a free proxy will likely struggle to render it correctly. The security risk is high, since all your traffic passes through their script in a readable format. A malicious provider can act as a man in the middle, logging every username and password you type. Furthermore, these proxies only mask your IP. They don't hide your browser fingerprint, meaning your screen resolution, fonts, and device data are still visible to any tracking script on the destination site. Ultimately, free proxies are disposable tools for anonymous reading, but they aren't built for any task that requires a login. For users who need more reliability than a web script can offer, the next step is usually a device-wide VPN. As we add standard VPNs to our table, the profile of the tool changes significantly. Because a VPN encrypts your entire connection and lets you use your local browser, websites render with full functionality. It's the baseline for general privacy. The first hurdle is access. VPNs require software installation, which is often blocked on corporate or school laptops where you don't have administrative rights. But there's a more subtle problem for professionals, such as those managing multiple e-commerce accounts or social media profiles. A VPN changes your IP, but it doesn't isolate your browser cookies or your digital fingerprint. If you log into 2 different accounts, the platform can still see they are coming from the same device, which often leads to both accounts being linked and banned. A VPN secures the pipe your data travels through, but it doesn't hide the identity of the browser at the end of that pipe. This brings us to Tier 3, cloud virtual browsers. These are engineered specifically for high-stakes isolation, where IP masking alone isn't enough. The technical difference is huge. Instead of your computer loading a website's code, a remote server runs a completely isolated browser instance. The remote server handles all the JavaScript and rendering, streaming only the visual output back to you. This ensures that complex web apps and streaming sites behave exactly as they would in a local browser. Let's log these final capabilities into our table. For digital professionals, the primary benefit is session persistence. You can run dozens of accounts simultaneously, each in its own dedicated remote environment. Because each session has a unique server-side fingerprint, you address the primary technical triggers that platforms use to link and flag accounts, providing a level of separation that a VPN can't match. The trade-off is the cost of the cloud infrastructure and a slight increase in complexity compared to a one-click website. Cloud virtual browsers act as an insurance policy, moving the risk of web browsing off your local machine and into a disposable, isolated environment. You shouldn't look at these tools as a ladder where more expensive is always better. You need to match the tool to the risk level of your task. We can simplify the choice with this decision tree. It all starts with your primary objective. If you just need to read a blocked article or do a quick anonymous check on a site without logging in, a free web proxy is the most efficient choice. Just remember, never enter a password or financial data. Treat it as a view-only tool. If you want general privacy for your daily browsing or video streaming on your own hardware, skip the web-based proxies and use a standard VPN for better speed and device-wide encryption. But if your work involves managing multiple client accounts, sensitive research, or storefronts where a ban would be catastrophic, you need the fingerprint isolation of a cloud virtual browser like Sendwin. Choose your tool based on your risk. Use free relays for disposable reading, but rely on professional isolation when your accounts and security are on the line.